What if everything you thought you knew about human history was upside down? Imagine a world where the minds were labeled different today. Hyperfocus, pattern seeking, intensely logical weren't rare at all. What if that was humanity's default way of thinking? Not a flaw, not a condition, but the very engine of civilization, and history would look completely different.
What if the human mind had evolved just a little differently? Imagine a world where nearly every person experiences the world with heightened sensory awareness, where pattern recognition is one of the most valued skills in society, and where communication prioritizes precision rather than persuasion. In our timeline, these traits are often associated with autism. But in this alternate history, they are not unusual. They are simply the human norm. Civilizations still rise. Technology still advances. Conflicts and challenges still exist. But the motivations behind history shift. Instead of charismatic leaders dominating society, the most respected individuals are those who notice patterns others miss. Instead of loud political movements, cultures favor stable systems and predictable structures. History does not disappear. It simply bends in a different direction. This is the story of what human civilization might look like if autistic cognition shaped the course of history. 200,000 years ago, the earliest humans in this world begin to organize information differently. Language still develops, but visual systems appear earlier and spread quickly. Symbols, carvings, and diagrams become tools for storing knowledge. Patterns in nature are carefully documented. The rising and setting of stars. The cycles of rain. Animal migration routes. Early humans begin building detailed records of these repeating events. Over generations, this attention to structure begins shaping belief systems. In many early societies, spiritual traditions focus not on human-like gods but on cosmic patterns. The movement of the sky becomes sacred. Seasonal cycles become ritual calendars. The universe is not seen as a place ruled by personalities. It is seen as a system that can be studied. Leadership also emerges differently. Instead of individuals who inspire others through emotional influence, communities often follow those who demonstrate reliable understanding of patterns. People who can predict floods, food shortages, or environmental changes. In the earliest human societies, knowledge becomes the primary source of authority. As agriculture spreads, permanent settlements appear across the world. But these early cities develop in a distinctive way. Urban planning begins thousands of years earlier than in our timeline. Cities are built with straight roads and repeating layouts. Neighborhoods are modular. Water channels follow geometric routes. Markets are scheduled rather than chaotic. Instead of loud, crowded centers, cities are designed to maintain predictable environments. This approach reflects the priorities of the people living in them. Sensory stability matters. Noise, disorder, and unpredictability are minimized whenever possible. Even political systems follow structured models. Councils analyze long-term patterns rather than responding to short-term emotional pressure. War still occurs in this world. But conquest for prestige is rare. Instead, conflicts tend to be defensive and highly calculated. Expansion without a clear systemic benefit is often seen as inefficient. Civilizations grow, but cautiously. By the 1st century BCE, one of the most influential turning points in this alternate timeline occurs inside the Roman world. In our history, the inventor Hero of Alexandria created a small steam-powered device known as the Eolipile. It was mostly treated as an intellectual curiosity. But in this alternate world, someone recognizes its deeper potential. Roman engineers begin experimenting with scaled mechanical systems. Steam-driven machines power mills, irrigation pumps, and mechanical workshops. Over time, Rome evolves into an early industrial society. Massive public entertainment projects become less important. Instead of constructing arenas designed for spectacle, resources flow into infrastructure, roads, water systems, mechanical facilities, and engineering schools. This shift gradually transforms the Roman economy. Machines begin replacing certain forms of forced labor. And the empire's identity changes. Rather than expanding endlessly through conquest, Rome becomes known as a civilization of engineers. During the centuries that follow, religion evolves in a unique direction. Instead of focusing on anthropomorphic gods, spiritual traditions emphasize understanding the structure of the universe. Sacred texts include mathematics, philosophy, and astronomical records. Monasteries become research centers where scholars collect and refine knowledge. Pilgrimages lead travelers to observatories and libraries. Disagreements still occur, sometimes lasting generations. But they are more often intellectual debates than violent conflicts. Science and spirituality grow together rather than apart. Curiosity becomes a cultural value rather than a threat. And across continents, societies continue refining their understanding of the natural world. By the Renaissance, individuals with exceptional curiosity find strong support from society. In our world, Leonardo da Vinci struggled to secure funding and recognition during his lifetime. In this alternate timeline, his abilities fit perfectly into the cultural environment. Leonardo becomes a leading member of a government-supported innovation guild. These guilds bring together artists, mathematicians, engineers, and architects. Their purpose is simple: explore ideas that may shape the future. Leonardo's investigations into anatomy, flight mechanics, and fluid dynamics pushed technology forward centuries earlier. Yet progress remains measured. Societies value innovation, but only when systems remain stable. Every new technology undergoes long-term testing before widespread adoption. The guiding philosophy is not speed. It is reliability. By the late 19th century, humanity begins building an interconnected electrical civilization. Inventors such as Nikola Tesla receive extensive institutional support. Tesla develops large-scale electrical networks, experiments with wireless power transmission, and designs early automated control systems. Electric vehicles appear earlier than in our timeline. Cities begin integrating energy systems, transportation networks, and communication technologies into unified infrastructures. Electricity becomes a public utility rather than a private weapon in corporate competition. The world becomes increasingly connected. But this new level of connectivity introduces a new challenge. Complex systems require constant maintenance and careful oversight. The more integrated civilization becomes, the more important long-term planning becomes. In the early 20th century, Albert Einstein introduces the theory of relativity. Rather than shocking the world, the concept is embraced as a deeper understanding of universal patterns. But the discovery raises a profound question. If humanity gains the ability to manipulate fundamental aspects of physics, how far should it go? Global scientific communities begin debating the limits of technological power. This becomes one of the defining philosophical challenges of the modern era. The question is no longer just what humans can do. It becomes what humans should do. By the late 20th and early 21st centuries, cities transform again. Architects such as Frank Lloyd Wright and Le Corbusier influence a new philosophy of urban design. Cities are planned as interconnected systems. Buildings adapt to light patterns and airflow. Transportation networks become automated. Noise levels are carefully managed. Public spaces are designed for focus and calm rather than constant stimulation. Urban life becomes quieter, but also more efficient. Technology fades into the background, quietly maintaining the systems that support daily life. By the 24th century, humanity no longer defines itself primarily through nations or competition. Instead, it sees itself as part of a long-term planetary system. Progress continues, but deliberately. Society begins asking different questions. Not, how fast can we advance? But, what changes will still make sense centuries from now? History in this world does not bend toward dominance. It bends toward understanding, toward stability, toward clarity. And under carefully mapped stars, humanity slowly realizes something profound. Civilization is not a race. It is a pattern. One that humanity is still learning how to understand.